Hey YouTube, I'm Peggy Lu Who, and this is my channel Peggy Lu Who Reads, or Peggy Lu Who Reads. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. Welcome back if you are not. Shit. Hold that thought. I need to get something. Still not an alcoholic, but it'll still help to get through this shit. Where was I? Oh, hi, Mom! And thank you to my subscribers, however many of you there are at this point, more than there were last time I checked, I think, actually. Thank you all so much. I still can't believe that, by the way. But here we are, and today we're going to talk about my book pet peeves. Some shit that really annoys the hell out of me. So I just want to add a caveat before I get into these. Yes, there will be swearing. There will be lots of swearing. There's usually swearing in my videos, but this one is going to be pretty damn spicy. Because I'm just talking about things that annoy me and really get my goat. So I'm going to drop some swear words. Sorry, Mom. It is what it is. So if you're ready for a good old rant, you came to the right place. Let's get started. I took notes. They're on my iPad. What's up? Professional. All right, so these are going to be my top 10 book-related pet peeves. The first few of these are just like in general having to do with books. They're not specific to things in books. And then the rest, most of them are going to be about things that annoy the shit out of me in books. So, and hey, I'm on the internet doing a top 10. What's up? So without further ado, let's get started. And let's get started in the tradition of all internet top 10s by actually having a list that is more than 10 and having an honorable mention. So the honorable mention. So honorable mention goes to the general condescension that people have around the way that other people treat their books. What I'm talking about is like the people that get way too bent out of shape about what people do with their own physical copies of books. Whether it be the people that get annoyed at the crackers, those of us that get a book and may crack the spine right away. I'm not always a cracker, depends on the book. The people that get annoyed about the people that never crack a book and read it like this so that it absolutely never gets a crinkle in it. The people that get annoyed with people putting tabs. The people that get annoyed with people underlining. The people that get annoyed with people underlining in pen. The people that get annoyed with other people drawing pictures. With other people highlighting, with other people tearing pages out, with other people ritualistically destroying books that hurt us. For one, I know a dear family member who gets really annoyed when people do this. I don't care if you do this with your book, it's your goddamn book, but I've had it up to here with the people that get really annoyed with what other people do with their damn books. Mind your own business. Treat your book how you want your book to be treated. Don't worry about what other people are doing. I will say though, as a general rule of thumb, if somebody loans you a book, return it in the condition loaned. So I don't care if you're a spine cracker. If someone loans you a book that is pristine, you don't do that. If someone loans you a book that doesn't have any markings in it, don't add markings. In fact, just in general, like even if it's got markings, don't add your own markings to the book if it's not yours. Like that's why they created Post-it notes. Like you can literally just stick a Post-it note in there and write on it if you feel the need. Write the page number and everything, or a piece of paper. God, I don't know, but like Don't fucking do that. That's rude. So, now that we got that honorable mention out of the way, this is only going to get spicier, by the way. So number 10 on my list of top 10 bookish pet peeves is the general snobbery around audiobooks. Look, Karen, I don't care if you think that listening to audiobooks does not count as reading the book. I don't care. There are a lot of reasons why folks read audiobooks. Some of us have really boring jobs that we don't really need to think about, but yet still can't have a book open in front of us, so we like to listen to books while we're working. Some of us like to have clean houses, so we listen to audiobooks while we're doing dishes, folding laundry, vacuuming floors. Some of us are parents, and for whatever goddamn reason, being a parent nowadays just involves a lot of driving kids around from here to there to everywhere, and they like to listen to a book while driving in their car with their kids to soccer practice, ballet, piano, guitar, Spanish, Chinese. Why are your kids doing so much? I don't, anyway. Some people like audiobooks because they may have dyslexia, they may have ADHD, they may be autistic. A whole lot of us suffer from, y'all need to mind your own goddamn fucking business. And I personally have a raging case of, did I fucking ask you? Like, seriously, like, you don't think that listening to the audiobook counts as reading the book? Then fine, don't count it for yourself. Why do you care so hard about what other people are doing? Like, mind your own goddamn fucking business. It's not hurting you. It's not going to ruin the world if I count an audiobook I listen to in my yearly total of books I read. Like, F off. Number 9 in my bookish pet peeves, and another one that is just in general about reading and not specific to things in books, is when I'm reading in public and people assume that that means I'm bored and therefore they need to come save me from my boredom. If I'm reading in public, I'm not bored. I planned ahead so that I wouldn't be bored. Or I just went out to change venue and sit somewhere else and read my book. It is not appropriate to approach me and try and start a conversation with me. If I wanted to start a conversation with you, I would not be with my face in a book. I would be attentive to my surroundings and making eye contact and smiling at you if I wanted to have a conversation with you. Me sitting somewhere, especially sitting somewhere in public, should be read as fuck off vibes. Leave me the fuck alone vibes. I'm cool vibes. Sometimes this is why I appreciate having an e-reader, because while you may run into someone, if you are sitting around out in public reading a book, who comes up and goes, "Oh, the Stardust Thief, what's that about? Oh, you're reading that. Do you like that book?" Usually when people do that, I try and be as rude as possible, but it's a lot easier to have a good response when you have an e-reader. Because when you have an e-reader, they have no idea what you're reading. So you can make shit up and make it real awkward. "Oh, what am I reading?" "A book on human dissection." It's a law book I'm studying for my defense. Oh, it's the Bible. Shall I read aloud? Would you like to hear the good word? Bonus points if you actually do keep a copy of the Bible on your e-reader, so that if this happens and someone tries to call your bluff, you can actually pull it up and read a favorite passage. If you want some suggestions of some really awkward Bible passages to read if somebody ever does this to you, leave a comment below and I'll give you some of my key choice favorites. So now I'm going to transition to the rest of the list is going to be actual things in books that annoy the crap out of me. That's how this list started, and as I was building it out, I was like, oh drats, there's not 10, and that's when I started. That's when I decided to include the other things that were not things in books, but just about reading in general that annoyed the shit out of me, and that's when it came to be like actually 10 plus one honorable mention. So without further ado, here are the top 8 pet peeves of mine in reading, which are all to do with things in books. And coming in at number 8 is the Deus Ex Machina, aka Isn't That Convenient? Plot device. So this is when just a character has some challenge and it is immediately met in the most convenient way without them actually having to go through any struggle or personal growth or anything. So an example of this that I DNF'd in 2020 is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. So in that book, the main character encounters this alien technology suit that sort of melds onto her, and from that point on, this suit that is part of her and that acts as kind of armor, every time she runs into a problem, she just sort of thinks like, oh, wouldn't it be great if this suit solved this problem? And then wouldn't you know it, oh my god, the suit solves that problem. It is like, what's the point of that? Like, there's no growth. And like I said, it's just like, well, isn't that convenient? So that's number 8 on the list of my bookish pet peeves. Number 7 on my list of bookish pet peeves, or things that annoy the shit out of me, is multiple POV for every single freaking character in a book. And of course, the prime example of this is A Song of Ice and Fire, aka Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, where there are like 20 characters and they each got their own point of view and they flop back and forth, and you are reading one chapter and it's one character. I can't remember all the characters in that book, but it's one character and you're following along, and like maybe you're enjoying that point of view or that character or what's happening with them in that scene, and then you get to the end of that chapter and you flip the page and it's some other fucking character and they're in a completely different part of the world, and you don't like that character and they're doing stupid shit and they're annoying, and then you get to the end of that chapter and then instead of going back to that character you actually liked or that story, that plot line that you were actually interested in, it comes on to another one and then another one. I understand when it's like a romance and they want to do the two people of the couple and they want to go back and forth because they want to have that in the character's head perspective, and that's like a really big thing in romance, to flip-flopping back and forth between the two members of a couple. Like, that's one thing, and to do that with 2 characters, totally, I'm okay with that, but like, to do that with, like in Game of Thrones, where there's like such a huge number of characters and just constantly be going back and forth and taking chapters to get back to a point of what's happening with this other character over here, because you go off and follow all these other freaking, like, no, edit, like, fucking different trilogies within the same series. I think, like, that is a thing. I think that Robin Hobb does. I haven't read any Robin Hobb books yet, but, like, I know that she's got, like, several trilogies that are all kind of connected to each other. Like, do something like that. Or just figure out how to better tell your story without, like, fucking needing to go, like, no. It's just not for me. Number 6 on my list of bookish pet peeves or things that annoy the shit about me in books is when writers are just trying to show off. Like, I love me some purpley language. Purpley language is like the really flowery, really beautiful, like poetic, you know, prose poetry style of writing. I'm fine with that. I like that. Like I said before, my favorite book is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It is very much known as a all vibes, no plot type of book. I like Picture of Dorian Gray. I also feel like is much more of a just all vibes, very little plot type story. I'm down with that, but like sometimes when you are reading a book, you can just like, you are reading a narration, following a plot, hearing a character speak in their own voice, but really the thing that is coming across the most in what you're reading is the writer going, that's fucking good. I did that. I can't think of an example of this, but I know I've read them before. I usually try and block them out of my mind as soon as possible. Like, seriously, like, yeah, like, everybody wants you to do well, author. Nobody's here for your, you know. At number 5 on my list of bookish pet peeves / things that annoy the shit out of me in books is the crazy villain trope, and that is big, heavy air quotes, scare quotes around the word crazy. Like, look, we get it. You're ableist. You have very little imagination, and the only thing you can think of in order to distinguish what makes your villain a villain is that he's crazy. Or she's crazy. They're psycho. They're whatever. Like, that's not how mental health works. Like, it's just not. Like, people with mental health issues don't just, like, start killing people, attacking people, stalking people. Those are people that have other issues, but the issue is not that they are insane or that they're mentally unwell, right? Like, you're fucking lazy. You're fucking lazy and you don't have an original idea in your body. Like, you're just a terrible writer. Sorry. Hate to break it to you. Don't quit your day job, kiddo. Oh, this one's good. This one's good. Woo, we're getting spicy. Number 4 on my list of bookish pet peeves / things that annoy the shit out of me. Number 4. And I wrote it this way, and I'm just going to read it because it's kind of a long... Characters the narrator tells you are really smart, but they don't do anything that makes them seem smart. This happens a lot, and I think it happens a lot with, like, a lot of, like, what are called self-insert books. So these are books where, like, it's clearly just a fantasy that the author had, and they have inserted themselves as the main character. Twilight is a very good example of this, and it is definitely an example of when characters, where the narrator tells you that the character is very smart, but she never seems to do anything that's all that smart, and I am talking about you, Bella Swan. Yeah, like, this happens a lot. It's like, don't tell me the character is smart. Show her being smart. Show her doing smart things. Show her making smart decisions for herself. Show her acing a test. Show her not dating Edward Snow or Edward Snow. Is that his name? Cullen. Don't date Edward Cullen, and don't date Jacob Black. I don't know. I read those books. It's a long story, but yeah. Just don't tell me that your character is smart and then have them act like a fucking dumbass. But they're smart because I said they're smart. Like, no. Moving on. Number 3. This one is particularly happens in like romance books and in smut books. But it is when characters notice other characters' eyes dilating. Now look, I don't know whether this is a thing that actually happens when people are excited and or aroused. I've never noticed it. Is this just me though, by the way? Is this like other people are going around noticing this about like when people are, you know, into them, that you notice their eyes dilating? Because I've honestly never seen this happen. I've seen people and been like, whoa, your eyes are really dilated. They're usually on drugs, or they're usually just came from the eye doctor. But like, I've never, you know, in my interactions with anyone who I assume to be having those feelings, I've never ever once noticed that their eyes were dilated. Is this a thing? Is it just me? Like, for me, I'm just like, that's not a thing. Like, why are you looking that closely at their eyes in that moment, ma'am, that you can see their pupils dilating? Like, that just feels like that's not a thing. That's not a thing, right? Right? I don't know. Maybe let me know. Number 2 on this list is very similar, but different. And it is one. It is so common and in so many different scenarios that authors do this. But like, number 2 pet peeve in books is swearing other people can hear a character's heart beating, or a character saying, my heart was beating so fast or so hard or so loudly that I knew that he must hear it. No! That's not how hearts work, and it's not how ears work. Like, nobody can hear your freaking heart unless their like ear is on your chest or they've got a stethoscope. Maybe if you are N.K. Jemisin and you are writing the Broken Earth trilogy and you have a set of characters that are very sensitive to vibrations and minute changes within the tectonic plates of the world, they might be sensitive enough that then it might make sense for your character to be thinking, oh my god, can that Raga hear how loudly my heart is beating? But like, no, you can't hear other people's hearts beating. Stop it with this. Every time I see that on a page, and it happens sometimes in books that I really love, but every single time I stop and I hate it, and I hate. That is not. I have never thought that. Have you ever thought that? Is this a thing that people have in their heads? A thought that they're having that they suddenly forget how ears and heartbeats work? Like, no. It's so tired, and it's been so many books. It happens all the time. All these characters all the time. But it's, what? Stop it. And the number one thing that gets my number one pet peeve, annoyance in books, fucking epilogues. Stop it. Stop it with your damn epilogue. Like, either your story is done or it's not. Stupid tag on epilogue. And it's always some bullshit like happy ending, happily ever after. Like, you don't have to just like give that like last serotonin gush. And like, I know I could just like not read them, but like the completist in me, even though I'm not exactly a completist, I DNF books all the time, but like the completist in me won't let me not read your stupid shitty epilogue, which is just gonna be like some usually saccharinely sweet, like not necessary to the plot. Or if it were necessary to the plot, why is it in a fucking epilogue? Why did you stop your book and then not finish the fucking narration so that you had to tag an epilogue on? I freaking hate this shit. Like, I will frequently open books, and if there are epilogues, be like, oh fuck, here we go. I mean, if I really want to read the book, I'll still read the book, but like, I definitely, it's already 1 star off. It's already 1 star off. So that's it. Those are the bookish things that annoy the shit out of me. If you made it this far, oh, that was a journey. Thanks for coming with me. Like, comment, share. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Down in the comments, please let me know if you have any pet peeves that you that drive you absolutely up the wall that are different than mine. Let me know if you feel the same about any of these. Again, please do let me know about the dilating eyes and the heartbeats happening thing. Like, let me know if that's just me, and like the rest of the world, that's totally normal to y'all. I don't know. You know, let me know if you like this type of video, if you like watching me be annoyed and lose my mind. Yeah, until next time, read well. Non-alcoholic beer. Here's to your health.